Hello? This is Melia. Can you hear her well? Can you see her? If you'd like, write hello in the space to the right to let her know you're there. Wow. Good. Hello. If you're wondering if you're in the right place, this is the birth of paper. I feel like I'm a teacher on the first day of class. If you're wondering if you're in the right room, because, there must be a million Zoom rooms out there floating in space, little square rooms floating on an ocean of what? Pixel dust? Digimatter? Raw distance? Like bottles bobbing on the sea, some with people inside of them like coiled up unread messages, some empty and dark. And we have found ourselves together in this one, a handful of coiled up messages stuffed in together because you clicked the right code. You could have popped into any one of those other bottles if just one number was different. So we're here on purpose, but by chance. Those codes we click, it's funny. All this time I've been thinking of them as, just lists of random numbers. Click it and join a room. 228-550-3908. But maybe they're coordinates. 228 by 550 by 3908. Find the sky marks. Check the moon, the sun, those three stars in a cluster. Triangulate. Drop the anchor. And we're here together in a space that's imaginary and real at the same time. How is that possible? Who knows? Science. Magic. Both. Anyway, I don't think I can really express how glad I am that you showed up. Many hands have are shaping our time together here. This Zoom room is full of tender-hearted ghosts. You can't see them, but they're here. And listen, there may be things Melia asks you to do that you just want to skip over, like answer my questions or make yourself seen, or send messages from your fingers across the ocean to Splat, to that little chat panel on the right. You may just not want to do that. But if you can do these things, please do. You may be performing as someone's proxy who can't do them right now. We all have a part to play tonight. Like the role Melia's playing tonight for me. I'm Molly. I would like you to meet Melia. She's the one who is looking at you. She may not seem like she's really there because she's two-dimensional at the moment, flat. Only the thickness of your screen, but the flat, bright square you are looking at is filled with a human being. We all have to believe that a little for this to work. Melia has offered to be my paper tonight. This is something actors do all the time for playwrights. It's a great gift, and it floors me every time. Thank you, Melia. This play was inspired by an in-person play I wrote in 2003. I thought I was just going to redo that play, adapt it for COVID times. But what does it mean to adapt something for COVID times? I guess for me, it meant thinking about distance, inviting distance in as a condition of our contact, as a ghost in the room, as the ocean we sail on to reach each other. This makes me think of maps. Maps are like the precocious children of distance and paper. Where am I? Where are you? Pull out the map and find out. Here is where Melia is right now, Beirut, Lebanon. And here is where I am right now, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 5,859 miles away. 5,859 miles. Yet here together, science, magic, both. And who are you? A room full of who? Strangers? Let's see who's here. In the space on the right, write stranger if you're a stranger to someone in this imaginary room we're sharing. Okay, friends, friends. How many people have friends in this room? Okay. How about family? If someone from your family is here with us, write family. Frenemies. Okay, you don't have to answer that. I wonder, what kind of weather would it take to move people from one of those categories to another? A storm, family to strangers. A squall, strangers to frenemies. A little wave in a time of need. Frenemies to stramily, to something we don't have a word for yet. You know, Amelia's been my friend for almost a decade, but I've never been where she is. Not just the building she's in right now or the room. I've never been to the country she's in. How many of you out there have been to the city of Beirut, Lebanon, or are there right now? If so, write yes. I haven't, but if I had to describe it, I think, and this is all just in my head, I'd say that Beirut smells like the ocean, salt air plus exhaust, diesel, plus just a little of the scent of gardens, flowers, and green things growing. Other people who have never been, what do you imagine it smells like? She'll give you a moment. Write it to us. Plus sadness, stress, spices, humanity, the sea and sadness. Okay. Okay. And for the sound, for some reason, I think of traffic sounds, the unmuffled engine, the arrogant motorbike farting down the street, the beep of a truck backing up, people speaking language of all colors fluttering out from shop doorways, the call to prayer, seagulls. Is there a seagull crying? Dog barking in the distance? Anyone else who hasn't been there, what do you imagine it sounds like? Good days robbed. Anything else? Shouting. Birds. Full. I've asked Amelia to share what Beirut really sounds like right now. How close do you think we got imagining the sound? Right, close, not close. Not so close. In reality, no. Oh, before we go in, check out Amelia's little trees out here. Here's the olive tree. Oh, and here's a palm tree. You also have those amazing cedar trees over there, up in the mountains. I've read all about those. the famous cedars of Lebanon, the olive, the palm, the cedar. These are all trees I first read about in the Bible when I was a kid. Holy trees right here in Amelia's backyard. Huh. Okay, those in Beirut, your turn. Those who have never been to Pittsburgh, what do you think it's like, looks like, smells like, sounds like? Write it to me. Amelia will wait. Hmm. Okay. Okay, cold sometimes, clean, crisp, traffic, bicycle bells. Okay, smells like right after it rains, steel factories. Is Pittsburgh cold? Yes, cold. Bus driver is laughing. These are great. These are really great. You know, Amelia's been here. She made me a list a while ago of what Pittsburgh was like to her. She wrote me, the smell of freshly brewed coffee, wet wood, wet asphalt, beer and vomit, pierogies, bacon, deciduous woods, dank basement, cold gasoline, overgrown grass. The sound of the bus passing by, all kinds of music, but mostly rock, the pushing in people's voices when they spoke, rain lightly falling on the roof, creaking of wood, only English all the time, no Arabic, birds, quiet, so much quiet. The sight of rust, abandoned factories and buildings and homes, everything that could ever be abandoned, destitution, space between things, gray, the aftermath of economic warfare, pubs, dirty cafes, large swaths of forest, brown rivers, bridges, hills, kind faces, flickering lights, advertisements, beautiful houses, traffic lights, a downtown where there aren't many people out, bus stops. Okay, now we know where we are a little. Some of us here in Pittsburgh have heard about the difficulties in being there in Beirut right now, the sense of crumbling at the center. We heard about the revolution, the government abandoning you, the money turning into just paper, the fuel and electricity shortages. We know these things are happening right now as we sit here together. We know Amelia is running her internet off her personal generator just to be with you tonight. I'm sorry if it gets a little choppy. We also heard that there are a lot of things that are impossible to get where you are. Amelia wrote me a list a while ago. Here are some things on it. Those in Beirut, feel free to add things to her list. Coffee, tea, books, magazines, baby formula, meat and chicken, chocolate, tampons, good sleep, shampoo, fuel, toothpaste, a sense of safety, new clothes and socks, paints, pens, notebooks, crayons, relief from rage, good internet, makeup, moisturizers, milk and cheese, hope, electricity, comfort, rest, yeah, electricity, happiness, imagination, paper more valuable than the printed lira, stability, silence, guiltless meals, no hope, transportation. Yeah. I added a couple in there based on conversations with other people. And that's a hell of a list to live with. Rusty and I, Rusty's my producing partner and husband. He's a redhead with a magical scraggly beard. He's the person who directed this play. You can't see him, but he's here with you right now. We've been over here in the little room where we do our thinking about this, feeling helpless, trying to figure out how to do something good with what we have. Our first thought was about raising money and sending it directly, but customs doesn't allow that. Plus, money can disappear on its way to where it's going. And then I started seeing things around the house that made me think of Amelia. A collection of hand towels, a little mirror, a box with a picture of the ocean. When Amelia comes to visit us in Pittsburgh, she always gives us little gifts. I love that. I love the anticipation, then the surprise, then the warm rush of gratitude after, and the trail of memories a gift creates, like little bright stones on a path leading back to our time with her. She's giving me that path into the past as well as the gift itself. She said that's something common in Lebanon, gift giving, that Lebanese people bring gifts to each other's houses for all kinds of occasions. Is that right? Yes. Okay. Correct. Of course. So some of us in Pittsburgh pulled together and made some things to send you. By any chance, is anyone here? Did anyone do part of the packing? Is anyone here with us in this room who packed some of these gifts? Anyone in Pittsburgh? Write yes if you're here. Hello. So, about the gifts. We know it's very little, but maybe it's something. Maybe the beginning of something. By the way, there was more. Actually, a lot of the things we wanted to send weren't allowed by customs. Just know there was more. And so many more people wanted to be part of the sending. They're out there right now, all over Pittsburgh, in their houses or at work or in the car listening to the radio. You can't see them right now, but they're there. Those of you in Beirut who've received packages, how many of you are here in this room? Write, I'm here if you have received a package. Wonderful. So good to know they made it. You know, they passed over oceans to get to you. Brave little sailors. Now, we need someone with a package to step into the light, as it were. This is one of those proxy moments. We only need one of you to do it right now. We're all really excited to meet you. So someone who has a package and is in Beirut, if you're willing to be seen, could you write, I'm willing. We'll meet the first of you to do so. Hi, Christiane. There you are. We see you. Your small, bright square. Another square full to bursting with a human being. Could you hold up your package? Thank you. So a bunch of people in Pittsburgh volunteered to pack these for you all. These are people Rusty and I didn't even know. We told them we'd love for you to help, provided they send some goodwill along in the envelopes. That is the part they play tonight. They packed it and sent the goodwill. Everyone out there with packages, you're all of you, you're all going to open them at the same time. I wonder if when you all unseal them, you might feel that little puff of goodwill released. Follow Christiane. She will guide you. Christiane, take all the time you want. Ready? open. Nice, nice. Now, in this package, you'll find several things. Christiane, could you pull out all of those things and place them in front of you like Melia's doing? Everyone else out there with packages, just follow them. So just if all of you could look over the things you've been sent, just pull them out, but please don't open them yet. Christiane, you're doing, yes, put them in front of you. I'll show you. Mm-hmm. Yes. Perfect. Now, find your sky mark. Find the sun. Christiane, this is the first gift. All of you out there with a box like this, let's all do this together. Let's open it. Yes, the box. Christiane, do you have a box? Yes, let's open that together. Everybody else, you too. Oh my, I love the smell. What does that smell like to you? Can you write a few words to us? All of you. Christmas berries, like cotton candy, pine and Christmas. Smells as if a forest was shrunk to cotton candy, sweet floral. It makes me think of trees too. Our houses are gonna smell like forest. Christiane, could you hold up your gift so we can see it? Yes, stop. Bring it closer. Closer, closer. Perfect, stop. The lighthouse. Melia told me this is a landmark in Beirut, a symbol, like your cedars. She called it the Manara. Such a pretty word, Manara. She wrote me that the old Manara is, and I quote, not to be confused with the bland, sinister new lighthouse. Everyone hates that one. Amelia cracks me up sometimes. Christiane, you have been wonderful. Thank you so much for being seen. Everyone, write your thanks to her. Speaking of luminous beings, I learned a bit about this particular lighthouse, the Manara, from an article from the Daily Star, and it starts this way. For more than 150 years, one family from father to son has been in charge of lighting the Manara of Ras Beirut. The Shibli family. They've been lighting it since the 1840s. They're the house of light. Picture this, father and son trudging out to light the lamp. In the darkness, in the fog, every day, to make sure that luminous being, the Manara, can do her job. Sweep her long, graceful arm of light across the ocean, back and forth, maybe looking for you when you're lost, disoriented, maybe for a moment, maybe for a year. You might have lost your moorings. You might not know what's ahead, but the lighthouse is there. It scans the dark to find you, night and day. It's doing it right now. There are tears in my eyes as I write that. I don't know why. If Amelia were actually paper, she would have drops on her skin like shiny wet stars. Remember teardrops on letters? The way they fall on words, blurring them, mapping inner weather from page to page as someone writes or reads. A mother and daughter made those candles. The daughter, who's a chandler. I love that word. Chandler. She wanted to make sure that you'd get these in time, so her mom offered to help. Kind of like the Shibleys, a Pittsburgh house of light. The daughter, her name's Amy. I have a picture of her. She's here in Pittsburgh tonight. Maybe thinking of you right now. You never know. That's my house, where I am right this minute. See up there? That's the room where we do our thinking. See the windowsill? I'm behind there. Hello. Amy sent you some bridges too. Lord knows we have enough in Pittsburgh to give a few to you. We're the city of bridges, 446 of them, more than any other city in the world. Well, that's because we're a city of rivers. In our city, 3 rivers meet. They gather right downtown at a place we call the Point. Some people say there's an ancient 4th river underneath, a subterranean water path that lumbers dark under our feet. Scientists say it's just a sandy old aquifer. No big deal. I like to think the Point has a kind of mystical geological force, a vibration, from all those rivers drawn together like fingers into a fist. Science or magic, who knows? But it means we're on the water like you. So I checked to see if you could get from Pittsburgh to Lebanon completely by water. I thought that can't be possible. But an article from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette from 2009 said, yes, it said, and I quote, from the Point, so like starting at the Roberto Clemente Bridge, boaters can travel 981 miles down the Ohio River to Cairo, Illinois, turn to port, and it's about 1,000 miles downstream on the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico. That's down where I'm from. And from there, it's pretty easy. Northeast, through the Atlantic, through the Strait of Gibraltar, through the Alboran, the Balearic, the Turanian, then at last, the Mediterranean. And there's the Manara beaming at us. All those in Beirut with packages out there. You should have some matches in the things we sent. I think it's time to light these candles. Time for the bridges and the Manara to meet. Anyone else out there with a candle, get ready to light it with us. I'm serious. Let's light them right now together, like casting a spell, drawing us all onto the same shore. Are you ready? Light. There. And then also, if the lights go out in Beirut, we'll be okay. It's got to be the most frustrating thing in the world to be cast suddenly into the dark. Now, for the next gift, we need more people this time. People in Beirut with packages who are willing to be seen. If you're willing, please write to us. I'm willing to be seen. We'll take the first few. Okay, Lucinda and David, Fatima, Nadia, May. Hi, Lucinda and David in the dark. Glad you have your candle. Beautiful. Hi, Fatima. Hi, Nadia. Hello. Hi, May. Okay. We see you. Now, we've been traveling by water. So Amelia is going to ask you to fish. In the things that were mailed to you, find the green fish. Nice. Could you open that envelope, please, and take out what you find? Okay. Closer. Closer. Oh, nice. We heard that you were low on paper. This was sent by Sarah at a store called Scribe. She has a tiny shop in what we call Shady Side. It is shady there. There are tons of tall, thick-headed trees, which is kind of appropriate considering where paper comes from. Here's a picture outside her store. See all those trees there? I wonder if they stand there dreaming of being what's inside on our shelves. Like we might stand at a bus stop and dream of being a movie star. Because her store is full of exquisite paper, like the pads some of you are holding right now. A little box-like room full of little boxes of paper. Like your little boxes in our box-like room. Look at this paper. This was made by Sarah's son. He lives in a place called Mount Lebanon. It's a suburb just outside of Pittsburgh. Oh, and see the picture to the left? I thought that was funny considering we're both supposedly in Parises. The Paris of Appalachia, the Paris of the Middle East. What does that even mean? Sarah's store is only open for a few hours a week right now. And she's all alone in there because the pandemic forced her to let go of her employees, who you can tell are also her friends by the way she talks about them. But she wanted to give this to you all the same. She had these made for you. She tied these ribbons on by hand. Thank you, May. Thank you, Lucy and David. Thank you, Fatima. Thank you, Nadia. You'll be returned to the invisible for a while. So, paper. Could we all pause for a moment and think about paper? Those of you at home, if you have a piece of paper at hand, hold it up and really look at it. I love paper. It's so alive. When I look at a piece of blank paper, it seems like it's looking back at me. It holds frozen under its surface all the things that haven't been said yet. Like the face of someone quiet you like, but don't really know yet. And there's something childlike about it too. Eager, pure possibility, pure as the driven snow. Driven snow. Does it snow in Beirut like it does here? I looked it up. Yes, it snows in the mountains where those cedars of Lebanon grow. The cedars of God, some call them. In fact, those cedars need to freeze to germinate. They need to die to grow. Did you know the first papyrus was originally made from those cedars of Lebanon? The Egyptians used to come over, cut them down, and go back and make papyrus out of them to write on. But we were talking about driven snow. What is that? Driven by what? A hidden force is implied, isn't it? It's like handwriting. Handwriting implies an undeniable hand. It proves by its very existence that there's a hand somewhere, a specific hand, no less, and that hand is in motion and it moves just for you to make sure you know something, that you receive. You are not alone. There's a hand tying words to the paper with loops and knots of ink just for you. Hey, when was the last time you got something handwritten in the mail? Something in an envelope you had to open with real writing on it, not the fake handwriting on junk mail. Although there's a reason junk mail fakes real handwriting. It works. Ooh, someone real is trying to reach me. Can you even remember your last handwritten piece of mail? Alas, never. It's okay. If you can, write us what it was. I'll try to jog your memory. Was it a birthday card, a Valentine, a farewell, an admonition, an invitation, a thank you note, a postcard, an article with some notes in the margin? Okay, a birthday letter, a card, a card written on a typewriter, my niece writing me a letter, my grandmother sending me a gift, birthday cards, a letter, a card from a dear friend who passed away. If you can't remember anything, that's okay, because we have some people here who have been writing to each other for the last couple of months. They have been your proxies and you didn't even know it. They were pen pals, as we used to call them, writing between Pittsburgh and Beirut. Their letters traveled that 5,859 miles over the oceans and the rivers and the forests to reach each other. They were strangers when they started. I wonder what they might call each other now. Strands. All of you here who wrote letters, where are you? Please write, I'm here. Would you like to meet the other letter writers? Okay. Let's have Romy Lynn and Leanne come on. Oh, hi, Romy Lynn. Hi, Leanne. So did you write to each other? Okay. What's it like meeting your pen pal? Just raise your, you can just unmute or raise your hand. It's good, okay. Did you picture them? Did you picture her differently? Anything surprise you? So, Romy, can you tell us a little about what it was like writing to a stranger by mail?
It was a little unnerving. It was difficult at first, I think, because I initiated the conversation, so to speak. So yeah, it was hard.
What was hard about it?
uh, Being vulnerable, having somebody else hold my words that I didn't know.
Thank you. Wow. Leanne, what was it like getting to know someone without seeing them?
Um, Enchanting, maybe. Uh, I had no preconceived notions, and so just the words on the paper, I felt like sort of we're speaking heart to heart.
Now, Romy, I wonder if you would open and read a little of the most recent letter you were sent. Leanne, is that okay with you? Romy, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Unmute.
Thank you.
Sorry. All right. Romy, I have only recently grown in my appreciation for the life of nature, especially trees. Like you, I believe they speak. I heard a Native American woman say that most of us haven't learned to listen, so we cannot hear them. I live in the city where green space is precious. I've found my own sanctuary, that's what I call it, in a nearby park. It's really a small plot of land, and it's one corner of an intersection. But the trees make a canopy, and when I sit very still, even as cars pass by, I swear that I can hear them. A word about human hubris. I stumbled upon a quote by Ben Franklin, a founding father here, where he sings the praise of the work being done to scour the country of trees. It was seen as removing darkness, shadow, if he, the others, only knew.
Okay, Leanne, it's your turn. Beautiful, beautiful. Romy, is that okay?
On the rare chance you see a large tree in Beirut, a heritage building is surely near. The beauty of the city's chaos, the irregular planning, and jarring juxtapositions is that it allows you to envision what the city was, how it grew, and what it could have been. Just outside of my window, off my balcony, is a single bitter orange tree that, when it flowers, fills the house with the scent of orange blossom. The aroma was so strong last spring during the first lockdown, when the city came alive for the first time in its silence. This spring, the smell was faint and the quiet of the city deafening, a sad reminder Beirut had lost another life. I asked my landlord about the tree, and he said it was the last remaining from his family's grove that he used to play in as a child when the hill was considered a mountain. I often wonder what the tree has witnessed, what it has seen, heard, felt, how inconsequential my existence is in the span of its lifetime, how solitary it is now, yet how it persists surrounded by concrete and asphalt, how it continues to produce sour fruit. I read a poem the other day along the lines of there is a dancer in every tree, waiting for the wind, similar to us humans with love. It bothered me. I have often gotten into heated arguments with a friend about the language of trees. He fails to agree they speak, whereas I claim they creatively communicate beyond our comprehension. There's infinite movement in what we perceive as stillness. We humans can be so blinded by our humanity. Will we ever stop imposing its limitations?
Wow. Beautiful. Both letters. Thank you so much for sharing your mail. You seem to be writing about trees. I suppose most people have some sort of connection with trees. Or maybe the paper your letters were written on is trying to speak about itself. Remember. Remember what I really am. Not this flat, square surface, but a glorious, branching being. Leanne and Romy, is there anything else you want to say to each other now that you're together?
I would really like to continue the correspondence.
I feel exactly the same. I hope that we are able to keep going and going deeper even.
Me
This has
too.
been a great gift to me.
It has to me as well. It's a beautiful moment in my day. It takes me out of this really hard reality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you. We're going to return you to the invisible, but we'll know you're there. So, everyone out there, wherever you are, is this something you would want to do? Write letters to each other about trees or something else? I mean, we just got the testimonials. It's apparently highly recommended. Before you answer, this will take effort on your part. You will have to slow down. Remember how much longer writing takes than typing? You will have to expose your imprecise handwriting that's been shaped by your unique personal musculature and risk dropping blurry stars on the page if you get sad while you write, and find a stamp and go to a mailbox and feed that mailbox. If you're serious, if you agree, write. I will write to you. I will take this as your promise. I will connect you to each other. Wouldn't it be cool if you could write in the chat in your own handwriting, sign your name? I'd love to see that. Friends in Beirut, you have some paper to write a letter on and a candle to see by. And we sent some envelopes along. I hope you like blue, but you're still missing something. Could we have all of our friends in Beirut who received packages, who are willing, write, I will be seen. All of you, it's time for us to meet. Thank you. We would love to meet you. If you've already been on, it's okay. We'd love to see you again. If you have a package, write, I will be seen. It'll take a minute to move you from invisible to visible. I've asked Amelia to play some music. This is a famous song she told me about a ship that came to Beirut after the First World War when they were starving. It brought gifts, grapes and apples. Unfortunately, those were things they already had. What they needed was bread. But the ship did show up and someone wrote a song about it. And people still sing it till this day. It's called Rosanna. الله يجازيها. يا رايحين لحلا حبي معكم راح، يا محملين العنب تحت العنب تفاح. كل من وليف ومعوانا ولي فراق، يا رب نسمتها وتردي الوليف ليا، لطلع راس الجبل واشرب عالوادي، واقول يا مرحبا نسام هوا بلادي. عالروزانة عالروزانة كل الهنا فيها، وش حملت الروزانة الله يجازيها. الله يجازيها، يجازيها. الله يجازيها. Hello, all of you. Okay, so you are going to go bird watching now. Please find the birds who've flown over the rivers, the ocean, the mountains, to find you in the forest. In a moment, you're going to open this. When you have it open, there's an item in tissue paper inside. What's in the tissue paper is very delicate. There might be a bit of breakage from travel, and that's okay. It's also a little sharp on the edge where the envelope opens. Please take your time and be very careful. Pull it out now and unwrap it. When I first heard that the Pennsylvania state tree was the hemlock, I thought it was pretty sad, considering Socrates and all. But the eastern hemlock is not the kind that kills philosophers. That's a shrub. The eastern hemlock is a tree that many of you are holding in your hand. Or almost holding. Okay, can you all hold up your gift like this? I can just make out Lucy and David. Okay, Okay. Look at that. You have something to write with. I bet you can really smell the hemlock scent Amy put into your candle too. Wait, hold them like this. Those of you at home, if you have a branch or a pencil, hold yours up too. Now we're in the forest together. Let's stay in the forest while I tell you a story. When I first wrote this play in 2003, I lived in a forest in Texas, in a small, very rare stand of pines called the Lost Pines, who got separated from their brothers that grew in a massive forest somewhere far, far away. Like the stand of cedars up in your mountains, who were also supposedly once part of a huge forest in Turkey. Did you know that? They just got separated from their brothers up there long ago. Anyway, I had another husband back there in Texas who wasn't very nice, but I didn't know it yet. A dog, 2 cats, a big house with a cool cement floor and lots of bird feeders, and my father's old binoculars for bird watching and over 20 species of birds that came to visit me. I loved that life. I did. And as we've been working on this play, as I've held the objects you hold in my hands and smelled the scents and read some of the words from back then, I've remembered my old home. But the lost pines all burned down in a fire. They're truly lost now. This was soon after my life burned down, and I could never go back. But paper was there to catch me as I fell. And I told it everything. And it listened. And I became a writer. It's funny when you lose something, especially something big, a stand of trees to hide in, a patch of sun that was just once your size, good sleep, a sense of safety, hope. When you lose these things, there's a falling feeling. I remember that, falling, wondering how it would sound when my bones finally cracked on the ground. You think you know. You can imagine the sound. You picture what you will be when all is lost. An empty shell, a burned out stump. You think, I'll be nothing because you can imagine nothing. We've all seen an empty space. But you're always wrong when you imagine the future. We're just not creative enough to imagine what will grow out of nothing. This branch became a pencil and ended up in your hand. Look, I'm sure the branch and the pencil could have never imagined being this. I might look like a branch. Oh, wait. Look harder. Imagine what I really am. Okay, so we're coming to the end of our time together, but I have just a few more things to tell you before I sign off. First, I want to tell you how much I love Melia. I love you, Melia. I treasure you as my friend and my collaborator, but also, I mean, she is really objectively special. Special. What a dull thud of a word to describe it. Did you know she teaches and writes and plays like 10 instruments and speaks like 4 languages? But it's not that. It's not her accomplishments. It's her that I love. Her eyes, they're so big and bright. She is someone you want to talk to. She is utterly sui generis in a class of her own. I want to tell you how brave she's been as we've been as we've been reaching toward you across the ocean with this play, through the fog of power outages and the internet static and choppy mail delivery. And we know in some ways she has been representing for us what all of you there in Beirut possess. That bravery, I mean, that endurance, that devotion to making something out of nothing. And finally, I have to tell you about Mount Lebanon. Our Mount Lebanon, I mean, the one outside of Pittsburgh. Remember when I told you about Sarah's son, the one that made this paper I showed you at Scribe? Well, I mentioned that he lives in Mount Lebanon. That's not remarkable, not to Pittsburghers. Mount Lebanon is a suburb of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I mean, you can't get much more typical American suburb. Where a friend lives, usually a family, probably with a dog. But it's not, it doesn't have any special residence, you know? The name's like a stone that's been worn down by repetition. You don't even think about it when you say it. But because of all of you, because you were the ghosts of my future, and I knew I would be meeting you here, I started thinking about Mount Lebanon. Where did it get its name? Meet Reverend Joseph Clokey. He was the pastor of St. Clair Church out there. I know he looks kind of mean, but the guy I met at the Mount Lebanon Historical Society, his name's Jeff Hurd, reminded me that he might have had to sit all day to get that photograph. He might have just been tired. Plus, this is just two-dimensional, like Melia is right now. Who knows what he was really like? Reverend Clokey took a trip to Lebanon in 1850, which he called the Holy Land. And he brought back 2 cedars of Lebanon. He carried them over the ocean all the way back to Pennsylvania, 5,859 miles. And he planted them on his land in Bower Hill. And people out there would pass by. Jeff told me Bower Hill was like on a corner, and people would notice these unusual trees on his land because they really are unique. Most evergreens, their branches point downward, right? Like here's the hemlock. If the ends of the branches were hands, they'd be reaching down towards the earth as if they're pulling up energy from below, maybe from that 4th river people talk about. But the cedar, his branches are in this sort of horizontal gesture, reaching out, not up, making more room underneath as it grows. Or maybe just saying, enough, enough. So, this place in Pennsylvania, which was called Scott Township back then, people started calling it Mount Lebanon. The name just stuck because of those trees. When they built their post office, they went with Mount Lebanon as the name. I like to think of those 2 cedars standing there day in, day out on Bower Hill, thinking about where they'd been, born far away in the mountains, carried across the ocean in a boat fashioned from their brothers or cousins, to stand there on a corner halfway across the world. Those 2 cedars were eventually cut down, I'm sorry to say. I think the trees were sick by then. But there's another chapter. In the 1930s, they built a park in Mount Lebanon, and they said, we need to plant another cedar. It's our symbol. Same as you in Lebanon. You can't live without symbols. This was 1938. They look like they're having a good time, don't they? Like someone just told a joke. Now, you can tell that the cedar is pretty young because of its shape. It still looks like a Christmas tree. They stay that way for the first 50 years of their lives. But then, look at this. I went out there to Mount Lebanon and found the tree those laughing guys planted. I took this picture in April. See how it's got its distinct shape? That means it's nearly a century old. It's in the entrance of a parking lot. A true cedar of Lebanon. The plaque next to it, that's for veterans. It has nothing to do with the tree. Although the tree is a sort of veteran. It's been there year after year. I saw it myself. I laid my palm up against it. Now, it's time to open the last envelope, the one with the ship. Some of you out there who are not in Beirut, you may have an envelope with a ship too. The time is coming for you to open it. Let's all do this together. Ready? Open. Paper. This small, bright square, full to bursting. With what? These were made by Katie, who made you the tree pencils. She made this paper just for all of us. It's brand new. It's just been born. Hello. Katie wrote me a note about it, sort of a birth announcement. This handmade paper was crafted one sheet at a time. Your paper is made with a variety of found fibers, including cedar and flax seeds, and cedar bark, pencil shavings, lint, cotton, junk mail, and random dye transfers. Paper and vintage ephemera from Pittsburgh. Cedar. But not just any cedar. Rusty and I gathered those cedar seeds from under that cedar of Lebanon at the park in Mount Lebanon, same day I took the picture. To those in Beirut, we thought it was time the cedar came home to you. Please, everyone out there with a small, bright square, hold it in your hand, just hold it. If you don't have a cedar paper, find any piece of paper and hold it and pretend, or just let one of us be a proxy for you. Now, close your eyes. No peeking. Put a hand over your eyes if you can't trust yourself to keep them closed. Okay? Everyone's eyes closed. Just rest for a moment. Life can be exhausting. For you in Beirut, listen. The tree in this paper is reaching out, speaking to you. أنا هون. رجعت لعندكن. اسمعوا. Hey, it's me. I came home. I came home to you. Listen. I am no small, bright square. There is a full-grown future being in your hand. Tell me what I missed since being gone. All the summers and heartbreak and dust. I am a cedar. A cedar is strong. A cedar can bear it. أنا أرزة. الأرزة قوية. الأرزة فيها تتحمل. Now, all of us in this strange imaginary room, let's think of each other. All of us coiled up messages in this bobbing bottle of a Zoom room. All of us bright squares across the world. We are all together under this cedar tree. And we're straining to hear each other now, listening for each other's whispers. Listen. This is why paper was born, I think. For relief. Relief of the strain of listening from far, far away. Okay, you can open your eyes now. Everyone out there, everywhere, we'll ask you to join us now. If you don't wish to be seen, that's okay. If you get a notification, just decline it. But we want to see you. Hi. Hello. Hi. This paper you're holding, what will you do with it? You could write a message on it, send it somewhere, maybe to each other. You have everything you need now. Or if you have one with the cedar inside it, you could put it in a pot in the light. May not grow, we don't know. But it might. It might. And when you walk around your beautiful wounded city, maybe if you feel unsteady on your feet, find the manada. Or if you're far from the manada, find a tree in the distance and walk toward it. Or one up close you can rest your palm on to steady yourself. Your roots are deeper than you know. Now, there's one more thing I want to say to you before you go, but I know that if I were standing in front of you, the real me, not Melia, you wouldn't hear it. It would seem too corny. It'd pass right through you. But I'm going to tell it to you, and it's the truth. That's the other thing paper does, I think. Make things real. Maybe since I'm not there, you will hear it for real. I wish I was there with you. I do. I wish we were all together. Love. Molly.